telephone, email it to Eyewitness News and video at myabc7.com.
Welcome to World News. Tonight, the president summons congressional leaders and the candidates to an historic meeting to push for an agreement on a massive economic recovery plan. But there is no deal. Are they close, or is it back to the drawing board? Will there be a debate? We'll hear from Senators McCain and Obama. Danger zone. Tensions ratchet up as U.S. and Pakistani troops exchange gunfire along the Afghan border. And ask her. A new survey shows when it comes to making decisions at home, it's a matter of she said, she said.
From ABC News headquarters, this is World News with Charles Gibson.
Good evening. Washington was engaged in a high-stakes game of deal or no deal today, and the future of the economy could rest on the outcome. Early this afternoon, congressional leaders emerged from a closed-door meeting and said they had a deal, agreement on the broad outline of a massive plan to rescue the economy. Then, late this afternoon, the leadership and the two presidential candidates went to the White House for a meeting with President Bush. But when it was over, the word was no deal. Jake Tapper is at the White House this evening. Jake?
Charlie, participants in the meeting say it was very contentious and ultimately unproductive, even though the president tried to warn them, saying, if money is not loosened, this economy, he said, could go down.
At a little bit after 4 this afternoon, the president said the stakes were high.
We're in a serious economic crisis in the country if we don't pass a piece of legislation. I want to thank the spirit of bipartisan cooperation that's taking place here in Washington.
And that spirit looked to be in place at this meeting, with Senate and House leaders from both parties, and at either ends of the table, Barack Obama and John McCain. The original plan was to have everyone come out and project unity afterwards. But the only one to emerge was Republican Richard Shelby, a major opponent of the bill.
We hadn't gotten an agreement. There's still a lot of different opinions. Mine is it's flawed from the beginning.
Earlier in the day, the members of Congress actually writing the bill sounded quite optimistic.
Well, first, we've reached a fundamental agreement on a set of principles.
Those principles include funding. $350 billion will be available immediately, with another $350 billion available subject to another vote. An oversight board to supervise how the money is spent. Limits on executive compensation for officers of the companies that receive aid. Some form of equity investment in those companies for taxpayers, and some mechanism for homeowner protection. But Democrats and Republicans at the White House meeting clashed about issues dealing with mortgages. House Republicans are not on board with this bill. Many do not want the government buying toxic assets and, in their view, jamming it down their throats.
Tonight, Treasury Secretary Henry Paulson and Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke went back to Capitol Hill to try to work out differences between the two parties, even while Democrats blamed House Republicans for the breakdown.
I honestly don't know what the House Republicans are planning to do or how, and I don't think Secretary Paulson knows, or the White House, and that's the dilemma.
And now, Charlie, of course, the blame game begins. Democrats are faulting Republicans for not doing enough to rally behind the president's bill. Republicans are blaming Democrats for forcing these principles upon them. One of the players, Senator Chris Dodd, the chairman of the Senate Banking Committee, said he wished he could go back in time to 1 o'clock this afternoon when matters looked a lot more hopeful. Charlie.
All right, Jake Tapper at the White House tonight. Thanks to you. After the meeting, I had a chance to speak with both of the presidential candidates, beginning with Senator McCain, and I asked him, if there is no deal, what now?
I'm very hopeful that we're making progress, and I know we're making progress. I've talked to many of my colleagues today and had conversations with them and talked about this issue, and have no doubt about the crisis we are facing. We're talking about jobs all over America. We're talking about loans. We're talking about ability of small businesses to stay in operation.
What's the hang-up?
Well, members have concerns about a bailout, frankly, of $700 billion, or an expenditure, let me put it this way, an expenditure of $700 billion of the taxpayers' money. This is the biggest thing of its kind, obviously, in history. They have legitimate concerns. Some of those have already been satisfied, such as accountability and an oversight board and CEO executive pay. Members are aware of the crisis situation that we're in. They do have concerns, which I think when you're talking about $700 billion or $1 trillion, that need to be addressed. So this is a genuine bipartisan, bicameral agreement.
Do we have a debate tomorrow night?
Well, I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful that we can. I believe that it's very possible that we could get an agreement so that time for me to fly to Mississippi.
Can you describe the meeting for me? When was the moment that you realized we're not going to get an agreement in this meeting?
Well, I knew going in because I'd been over on the House side with my House Republican colleagues. There never was a deal, but I do believe the meeting was important to move the process along.
And just a few moments later, I spoke with Senator Obama, and I asked him what went wrong. At about 1 o'clock, the leaders of the banking committees walked out and said, we've got an agreement on principles. This is a bill that will pass both houses and the president will sign. At 4 o'clock, you go into a meeting at the White House, which is apparently pretty raucous, and you walk out at the end and say, there's no deal. What happened between 1 o'clock in the afternoon and 4?
Well, I think you're going to have to ask some of those who were objecting to the core principles that Secretary Paulson had presented. I think the House Republicans in particular suggested that although they recognize the urgency, they just are not clear that they buy this approach. And so the question I asked was, well, do we need to start from scratch, or are there ways to incorporate some of those concerns? I think that at this point, the President, the Secretary of the Treasury, and those who are expressing some of these concerns have to provide some clarity. One of the concerns I have about, as a presidential candidate, being too deeply in these negotiations, I think there's sometimes a tendency to have that distort people's decision making.
Do we have a debate tomorrow night?
Well, it is my intention to be in Mississippi. And, you know, obviously the biggest priority is making sure that we get this deal done. But I think it's also important to describe to the American people where the next president wants to take the country and how he is going to deal with this crisis. I mean, keep in mind, either myself or John McCain are going to be in charge of this mess in 4 months.
Did you say to Senator McCain, are you going to be there?
I think he knows that I'm going to be there, so you know, I hope that he is as well.
Our chief Washington correspondent, George Stephanopoulos, joins us now. George, what went on in that meeting at the White House? It sounds like it was rather raucous.
Chaos, pandemonium, theater. Those are the words I heard described by people familiar with the meeting, Charlie, and it looked like it went immediately off track, and Jake got into it in his piece. It appears that House Republicans have come forward with an alternate plan, not building on the Paulson Democratic agreed framework or negotiated framework, and they tried to push forward this idea during the meeting, and there was absolutely no agreement whatsoever. It was very heated.
But that idea was suggested to the White House days ago, rejected by the Treasury Department. Is this basic deal that the administration is pushing, this idea that we spend hundreds of billions of dollars to buy up bad debt from banks, is that basic idea dead, or can they build on it to get something that everyone can agree on?
Well, what you've got are House and Senate Democrats, the administration, the president, and some senior Republicans who were at that press conference earlier today who agree on building on the administration approach. You have House Republicans who want a completely different approach, and right now the Secretary of the Treasury and the White House are trying to go back, and the Republican leaders are meeting on Capitol Hill trying to see if they can assuage the concerns of these House Republicans who want a completely different approach. Right now they are still pushing it.
So it's interesting. You have the House and Senate Democrats agreeing with the Republican president, and you have the Republican presidential candidate, I don't know exactly where he stands, and the House Republicans objecting to their own party's approach.
And that is a big question now about Senator John McCain. Some Democrats suspect that he's coming in working with the House Republicans to blow this up so he can put it back together and get some credit. It's not clear that he signed on entirely to the House Republican plans, but I can tell you, boy, that Charlie, coming out of that meeting, Democrats were very angry, and Secretary Paulson, according to one eyewitness, had to come out and speak to the Democrats at the White House and plead with them not to blow this up, and they came right back at him and said, wait a second, we've been working with you on a deal. It's the House Republicans who are now trying something completely new.
All right. Well, we're back in a bit of a quagmire, I guess. George Stephanopoulos, thanks very much. Word earlier in the day that progress was being made actually boosted confidence on Wall Street. The Dow gained nearly 200 points, ending a three-day losing streak. The White House announcement that there was not an agreement came after Wall Street had already closed. So what's going to happen tomorrow? You said if there's no agreement, the markets could really be in turmoil.
You know, I think it depends, Charlie, on whether investors get the sense that there's just some problem with the details and they can be worked out. If that's the case, then the market can probably ride this out and be a little bit patient. But if there's the sense that this thing is coming apart at the seams, then you could see a much more serious sell-off. The market will only be so patient.
Betsy, the market went up 200 points today on the expectation that there was an agreement, right?
That's right. And then slid, losing about 50 points at the end of the day, getting a whiff that there was some trouble.
All right, so tomorrow could be another rocky ride on the markets.
Unfortunately, that's true.
All right, Betsy Stark, thanks very much. Still ahead on World News. Bullets fly between U.S. and Pakistani troops along the dangerous Afghan border. The latest clash as tensions rise. The housing market takes another dramatic hit. What will it take to end the free fall? That's our closer look. And who really calls the shots at your home? Some new answers about men, women, and ruling the roost.
This is World News with Charles Gibson, brought to you by CVS Pharmacy.
It seems so exceptional that things just work out after all. It's just another ordinary miracle today.
You take the time to care for so many in your life. Take a little time for yourself and save on the hottest items of the season at the CVS Pharmacy Semi-Annual Beauty Sale. CVS Pharmacy, for all the ways you care.
Townhouse Toppers, the only cracker with raised edges to keep dip in its place. Townhouse Toppers, part of the Townhouse family. When it comes to toppings, we've got the edge.
Women are learning that as we get older, it gets harder to build bone density with calcium and vitamin D alone. It's time to do more. And now we can. Introducing Citracal Plus Bone Density Builder, the first and only calcium supplement with genistein, an ingredient found naturally in soy that's proven to significantly build bone density, up to 5%. Switch to new Citracal Plus Bone Density Builder. It's made to do more.
Tired of morning coming in the middle of the night? Ask your prescriber about 2-layer Ambien CR. The first layer dissolves quickly to help you fall asleep, and unlike other sleep aids, a second dissolves slowly to help you stay asleep. Until you know how Ambien CR will affect you, you shouldn't drive or operate machinery. Plan to devote 7 to 8 hours to sleep before being active. Sleepwalking and eating or driving while not fully awake with amnesia for the event have been reported. In rare cases, severe allergic reactions can occur. If you experience any of these behaviors or reactions, contact your doctor immediately. Side effects may include next-day drowsiness, dizziness, and headache. It's non-narcotic and can be taken for as long as your prescriber recommends. Like most sleep aids, it has some risk of dependency. Don't take it with alcohol. To wake up ready for your day, ask your prescriber for 2-layer Ambien CR.
Great soup, Jen. What's your secret?
An incredibly high degree of culinary intuition plus years of experience.
You mean Swanson broth?
Yeah.
Made with all-natural chicken stock and flavored with garden vegetables and herbs, the secret to great-tasting homemade soups is Swanson broth.
The increasingly tense relationship between the United States and Pakistan just got more so. The two countries may be allies in the war against al-Qaeda and the Taliban, but today, along the Afghanistan-Pakistan border, U.S. and Pakistani troops exchanged gunfire. ABC's Jonathan Karl is at the Pentagon.
Senior U.S. officials say it all started as American helicopters were providing cover for U.S. and Afghan troops who were patrolling along the Pakistani border. Pakistani troops at a border checkpoint fired on the helicopters. As the helicopters retreated, U.S. ground troops fired warning shots. The Pakistanis shot back, prompting a firefight between the two sides that lasted about 5 minutes. No Americans were injured. Pakistani officials say the American helicopters were flying in Pakistani airspace. U.S. officials insist they were more than a mile inside Afghanistan. In recent weeks, the U.S. has quietly stepped up secret military operations against militants inside Pakistan. Those attacks have prompted loud protests. Earlier today, Pakistan's president defended the actions of his border troops.
Mr. President, can you tell us why the Pakistani military is firing on NATO helicopters?
You mean the flares? They're flares, just to make sure that they know that they've crossed the borderline.
Despite it all, U.S. officials continue to insist that Pakistan is a steadfast ally, even one of America's most important allies in the war on terror, making today's incident especially alarming. Charlie?
All right, Jonathan Karl at the Pentagon, thanks to you. We have an update on Jan Crawford Greenberg's exclusive reporting on this broadcast on the principles revealing the top Bush administration officials were directly involved in talks about interrogating terror suspects. Newly released government documents confirm that Condoleezza Rice, Donald Rumsfeld, and John Ashcroft discussed the harsh CIA techniques in 2002. The Senate Armed Services Committee is investigating the interrogations, and Chairman Carl Levin says those discussions about the use of those tactics took place at the highest level of government, took place at the White House. And Tropical Storm Kyle formed in the Atlantic this afternoon. At the same time, another powerful storm is battering the East Coast. Right now, Kyle is about 600 miles south of Bermuda. But a different storm system is already hitting the Carolinas and Virginia with heavy wind and rain, and is expected to be causing flooding as it moves into New England this weekend. Coming up, looking for answers in the housing crisis. When will the worst be over?
Why let changing your oil drain your wallet when so many car care companies love to fill the blue envelope with valuable coupons? From offers on oil changes to reductions from retailers to half-off home improvement, there's something in it for you. Valpak and Valpak.com. To advertise, call 1-800-4-VALPAK. Dry cleaners and laundry services know the best way to get more business is to call 1-800-4-VALPAK. Call today to learn how Valpak can help your business clean up too.
When you see what we've done with veggies, you'll think it's uncanny. Introducing V8 Soups from Campbell's. A full serving of vegetables in a soup so velvety and delicious, you won't be able to contain yourself. New Campbell's V8 Soups.
I didn't believe her. I told her it's a different kind of laxative. I still didn't believe her. No constipation, no harsh side effects. Even your doctor recommends it. Now I believe her.
Restore your body's natural rhythm with Miralax.
Is your makeup showing? Well, CoverGirl reinvented True Blend so it won't show, even up close.
True Blend has color spheres that are attracted to skin. They don't just sit on top. They spread out and blend in.
True Blend from easy, breezy, beautiful CoverGirl.
Back to school. Here we go again.
Come on, hurry up, let's go.
Back to school stress can weaken your body's defenses, so drink Dan Active. It's clinically proven to help strengthen your body's defenses.
Talk about a wake-up call. I had a heart attack at 57. My doctor told me I should have been doing more for my high cholesterol. What was I thinking? But now, I trust my heart to Lipitor.
When diet and exercise are not enough, adding Lipitor may help. Unlike some other cholesterol-lowering medications, Lipitor is FDA approved to reduce the risk of heart attack, stroke, and certain kinds of heart surgeries if you have several common risk factors or heart disease. Lipitor has been extensively studied with over 16 years of research. Lipitor is not for everyone, including people with liver problems and women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. You need simple blood tests to check for liver problems. Tell your doctor if you are taking other medications or if you have any muscle pain or weakness. This may be a sign of a rare but serious side effect.
I learned the hard way, but you may be able to do something.
Have a heart-to-heart with your doctor about your risk and about Lipitor.
Tomorrow, a rescue plan in Washington might bail out Wall Street, but how will it help you? Tomorrow, get answers. Plus, why is this police officer being called heroic? It's not what you think. Meet our Person of the Week tomorrow on World News with Charles Gibson.
We have a closer look tonight at the one part of the economy which more than any other triggered the country's financial mess. It's the housing market, the collapse in home prices, the mortgage meltdown, and the record number of foreclosures. Numbers out today show new home sales plunged almost 12% last month. That's the worst in 17 years. And there's now an 11-month backlog of unsold new homes. So what will finally start to turn things around, and when? Here's Barbara Pinto.
When it comes to fixing the economy, there is no place like home.
The housing market was the first thing to drag the economy down, and realistically, it's going to be the first thing that's going to start propping up or improving the overall economy.
And I also want to remind you that we are going to do an open house this weekend.
It can't happen soon enough for realtor Janine Wheeler.
I say to my clients, it's a buyer's market. Why aren't you buying?
Mortgage rates are lower than they were a year ago, and there are more homes on the market, driving prices down.
There's a misconception out there that we're not lending money. We are, and we're certainly going to lend it to people that want to buy homes.
But the rules have changed. A few years ago, buyers with a credit score of 680 or higher were guaranteed prime loans. Now the standard is a 720 score. Those tougher standards mean 20% of American families may not qualify for a mortgage they can afford. The government takeover of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and the pending relief legislation are all expected to help eventually.
The hopeful goal of all this is to make it so lenders are much more willing to make loans going forward and on easier terms.
Even now, there are a few bright spots. The Midwest saw new home sales increase by more than 7%. Developer Kevin Enyart is seeing more buyers in Kansas City.
They're wanting to kind of jump in and take that last opportunity on a purchase before things start to hit that uptick on the bell curve.
There are still many frustrated sellers, like Chad Smith. Even at a discounted price, his Chicago condo has been on the market for 5 months.
We can't really make any decisions until, we sell this.
But he's hoping help from Washington can finally move him and the economy forward. Barbara Pinto, ABC News, Chicago.
Our closer look for tonight. We have a musical note tonight. Thousands of fans jammed Tel Aviv's largest park to hear Paul McCartney perform, 43 years after Israel banned the Beatles from holding a concert in Israel.
All we are saying is give peace a chance.
It was back in 1965 that government officials in Israel said they feared the Fab Four would be a corrupting influence on Israeli youth. Up next, who's the boss? What men and women are saying about decision-making at home.
Meet Bob Kearns, inventor of the intermittent windshield wiper.
It's such a simple idea. Where did you do your research?
My basement.
A man with a unique invention.
Maybe this is the one. Ford is very interested. Why, Ford? Wow. They want it.
A company who would do anything to get it.
We're going to need a working unit from you. Okay. They want out, Bob. Who wants out? Ford.
Out? They have the unit. And they looked at my work. An American dream.
That is my design.
He would never give up.
They took this from us.
Flash of Genius is a remarkable and inspiring true story.
Ford does not know the meaning of years or money. This is about right and wrong, and you know it.
About a man with unbelievable grit, determination, and heart.
Ford wants to offer your family $30 million. Do they admit it was my invention?
No.
Don't do it, Dad.
You'll be rooting for him all the way.
It's just a windshield wiper. To you, maybe. To me, it's the Mona Lisa.
Flash of Genius. Rated PG-13. October 3rd.
Did you know 1 in 2 women will develop bone or breast health issues?
Really? I didn't know that.
One A Day Women's is the only complete multivitamin with more calcium for strong bones and more vitamin D, which emerging research suggests may support breast health. One A Day Women's.
I'm Mark Goldston, Chairman and CEO of NetZero. All internet providers take you to the same internet, so why pay more to get there? NetZero is only $9.95 a month, and we give you a 30-day money-back guarantee. Call 1-800-NET-ZERO or visit netzero.com.
Townhouse Toppers. The only cracker with raised edges. To keep dip in its place. Townhouse Toppers, part of the Townhouse family. When it comes to toppings, we've got the edge.
Great soup, Jen. What's your secret?
An incredibly high degree of culinary intuition plus years of experience. You mean Swanson broth?
Yeah.
Made with all-natural chicken stock and flavored with garden vegetables and herbs, the secret to great-tasting homemade soups is Swanson broth.
Burning, itching.
I should have used Preparation H.
And for extra relief, use Preparation H medicated wipes first. Unlike most ordinary wipes, they relieve while you clean. Then use maximum strength cream. Preparation H, the relief expert.
Mom knew I needed calcium from day one. Today, 80% of us don't get enough from food. Our bodies can steal it from our bones. Replenish your body daily with TLC, Tender Loving Caltrate, and give TLC to somebody you love.
Tonight, you want to freeze this man.
I just need your okay.
Grey's Anatomy is back.
Do you want to move in with me?
Unless, of course, you just want to go ahead and get married.
ABC's Grey's Anatomy 2-hour season premiere tonight, 9/8 Central on ABC.
Tomorrow, the economy, the bailout, the debate, the election fallout. What does all of this mean to you, really? Tomorrow, Good Morning America gets answers. Plus, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, only on Good Morning America.
Finally tonight, who's the real head of your household? There's an intriguing new look at the American family conducted by the Pew Research Center that shows when it comes to decision-making at home, women wield the power far more often than men. And it turns out that's okay with the guys. As Sharon Alfonsi reports, we've come a long way from Father Knows Best.
When they dance, he takes the lead. But when newlyweds Sarah Lane and Louis Ribagorda step off stage, all that changes.
Who's in charge in the house?
Well, I think she is.
She is. And you're okay with that? Yeah.
Today's study found when it comes to family and finances, women rule.
Women are moving into greater decision-making roles outside of the home, and that kind of decision-making is also seeping over into the home.
Researchers ask couples who manages the family's money. More often than not, it's women holding the purse strings.
I've been married for 32 years, and my wife has been the, I would say, the manager of our finances and pretty much everything else in our life.
And the study found most men are, maybe not surprisingly, okay with doing less.
I do the cooking and the laundry and take care of the pets.
Yeah. And are you fighting for control of any of those things?
No, I'm in charge of watching football and hockey.
Which brings us to another important finding, the real trophy of power in any family, the remote control. Researchers asked who controls the TV, and couples claimed they both do.
There are more television sets than adults in the typical household, so maybe people aren't fighting about what to watch on TV because they're watching different TVs.
Researchers also found that as couples grow older, any power struggles fade and they're more likely to make decisions together.
We don't always agree, but when we disagree, I'm not afraid to say, you're right, dear.
Proving that learning to lead is easy. Learning to follow, that's the real art. Sharon Alfonsi, ABC News, New York.
One more subject for the dining room table conversation tonight. I started by asking, what about your household? Well, you can actually take a couples quiz that we've put on our website, abcnews.com. And that is World News for this Thursday. I'm Charlie Gibson, and I hope you had a good day. For all of us at ABC News, have a good night.
Just one click and you're on the inside of our newsroom with the new World Newser. Don't just see the news, but also see how the editorial decisions are made and get Charlie's Insider Daily blog. Go to abcnews.com, click on the World News link to get the new World Newser.
Tonight,
Do you want to move in with me?
Unless, of course, you just want to go ahead and get married.
Grey's Anatomy is back.
Hot.
Is that good?
Very good.
ABC's Grey's Anatomy 2-hour season premiere tonight, 9/8 Central on ABC.
When you see news happening, call the Eyewitness News tip line toll-free at 877-777-NEWS.
Expect delicious. El Pollo Loco's new grilled chicken tortilla roll, just $1.99. Citrus marinated chicken and cheese are rolled up in a tortilla and grilled. With your choice of dipping sauces like a cheesy queso, this roll rocks.
The Buick, Pontiac, and GMC employee discount on every 2008. And now, many 2009s. You pay what we pay, but only until September 30th.
Now get a GMC Acadia with better highway fuel efficiency than Honda Pilot. Starting at just $27,162. Hurry.
These are the final days of the GM Employee Discount for Everyone event. See your dealer by September 30th.
Eat better. El Pollo Loco citrus marinated chicken is flame grilled before your eyes. It's a delicious and healthier